Or, "Well, he's such a nice person. If I don't have sex with him, it doesn't really matter." Or how often do you find you're excusing yourself by saying, "Oh, well, there's no time. Neither of us have time. We're too busy." Or perhaps you've said, "Oh, well, I don't really get off on sex either. A mediocre or no sex life is good enough for me." And have you said, "Oh, he's such a good provider. Look at everything he brings into the house. Look at the rock on my finger. How could I possibly threaten losing this?" But here's a fact. Sex drive is a basic biological need, and it's part of our nature. If your man's turned off his sex drive, he's in trouble. So why do men lose their desire? Oh, there's a multitude of reasons. The first one could be that he's going through a midlife crisis. Now, don't get disgusted. They really do happen. He may have been working and working so hard for a dream, and he's achieved his dream, and now life feels flat. And if life feels flat for him, his penis could also be out on strike in sympathy. Now, the second reason why men can lose their desire is very powerful. It's just that some men feel so stressed from the work demands and their unhealthy lifestyle that they just lose their sexual desire. Sex is perceived by them as, "Oh no, just one more chore." A third reason for men losing their desire, and one that you're not going to like much, is their resentment, or at least their passive resistance to their woman's power. 45% of men surveyed felt that sex with an excessively sexually confident woman was intimidating. In fact, your independence, whether it's sexual or with your work or with your family or friends, could be intimidating and threaten him in some way. A fourth reason a man might switch off his desire is that he's unable to cope with your ongoing true criticisms of his flaws. I mean, sure, he might be a lousy lay, and he probably does forget to always put the rubbish bin out. But if you're constantly bringing that up in front of his face, his penis is once again going to want to go out on strike. Another reason that men can switch off sex is as revenge. Let's just say that there was a period in your past when you weren't very turned on, and maybe you had a very good reason, such as just having your first child, or heaven forbid your fourth, and being so exhausted. But maybe your man just isn't big enough to understand that, and he sees now an opportunity to switch off his sex drive and get revenge. A sixth reason for men to switch off has got something to do with that issue about stress. You know, self-prescribed stress reducers such as alcohol and marijuana, as well as tranquilizers and antihypertensive drugs, may increase depression and decrease desire for men. And the seventh issue is to do with commitment. I've had a series of cases where a woman comes to counselling with her man and she's really upset about their lack of a sex life. These men are always in their 20s, handsome and athletic, and the women are extremely attractive and strong-willed. The couple describe a very lusty sex life in the beginning, with lots of variety in sexual practices, places, and equal contribution to initiating sex between the man and the woman. But as the relationship gets stronger, the sexual appetite of the man gets lower and lower, and after about a year, he's just not interested in sex anymore. For instance, Peter, a phys ed teacher, was initially infatuated with Paula, and they had fantastic sex. They moved in together, and after a year, Paula started to push for an engagement. Well, Peter went along with it, but once the ring was on her finger, he started to be less interested in sex. He threw himself into his preparations for triathlon competitions. He denied having sexual thoughts about other women, but he did continue to masturbate at least 3 times a week. Paula was very hurt by that in particular. She couldn't understand why he would get himself off and not include her in his lovemaking. I see this kind of sexual conflict, commitment phobia. It's as if the young man turns off his sexual drive with the woman because then he has an excuse not to marry her. He's not willing to acknowledge this because he doesn't want to hurt her. He knows that she's dropped